record is to record everything in this window.
Okay.
Okay, so it should be recording now, hopefully.
So can everyone
Hold on.
see and hear?
I see your screen and I can hear you.
I'm just trying to get your windows back if you want it.
Okay.
You'll have to they're behind you.
All right.
I don't know which one you're going to.
I'll figure it out. Okay, everyone can see and hear?
Yes.
Yeah, online?
Okay.
I'm not hearing anyone talking with us, so I want to make
Yes.
Yes, I hear Jill here. Yes,
Yes.
I can hear you.
Making
Yeah.
sure the recording's gone. Okay, it is recording.
Okay,
Good.
cool.
I can hear.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so last fall, I did a presentation, and I should say up front that this is probably going to be nowhere near 45 minutes unless I generate a lot of discussion, or we generate a lot of discussion. Oh, great. Now there's video there, too. Lovely.
Well, maybe not. At least the camera's the mic.
Okay. So I just wanted to do a quick recap for people who weren't at the presentation last fall about what that was about. And that was best practices for library access to library resources and services for online students. And it came out of a presentation I did for the Instructional Technology Council, a webinar. And I'm actually going to present it face-to-face at the Online Teaching Conference in June. So I'm going to expand it a little bit. But just to recap that, we talked some about regulations and standards for that govern or have to do with library access for online students. And one of the things that keeps coming up in a lot of the standards is equivalent access. So we talked some about what does equivalent access mean. It goes beyond, ideally goes beyond just a link to the library website from Pipeline or from Moodle. But how do we translate a face-to-face instruction session in a class with a librarian into an online environment? Or the kind of experience you get face-to-face at the reference desk into an online environment. And then I went through and showed some examples, which I'm going to show again now, of what some libraries are doing. And I also shared some just very informal research I did on a listserv asking what some libraries are doing as far as their programming and also their assessment of their programming. And the bottom line is that most libraries want to do a lot more than we're doing already. And for community colleges especially, it's usually a staffing issue. Like the four of us are busy meeting the needs of the 5,000 to 6,000 students who come into the library every day. And it would be great if we could hire a librarian just to create stuff for online students. But we haven't done that. So I actually did get a grant. I'm working with English skills faculty, and I did get a basic skills grant to create some videos, so that's helping a little bit. And but before I get into that, I wanted to show, so you can see the library, our library website. We have our online chat, so that's something that already can be embedded into Moodle as a way of connecting students in online classes to a librarian. We also have research guides that we've created for a lot of classes, for face-to-face classes as well as online classes. Let me just find one good one that I just did this week. So a research guide that provides suggestions for the research process, lists of sources, links to online sources that are available, including sometimes free websites, and links to online citation guides. So that's what we already do that can serve face-to-face students as well as online students. And what I've been wanting to do is create modules that can be more easily embedded into online classes, video tutorials, stuff like that. And I showed some things that other libraries are doing that are sort of my fantasy. In a perfect world, we'll get to do this someday. This is one that I think I showed this last fall, right? It just came out this academic year. Library DIY. This was a brainchild of Meredith Farkas, who is a fabulous librarian at Portland State. And she wanted to reach the students, not necessarily online students, but students who are disinclined to ask for help from a librarian. The students are like, I'll just figure it out on my own. I know how to Google. I'll figure it out on my own. And offer them point of need support for what they're doing. So what we're looking at now is just sort of the home page for library DIY, but the different elements of it would be embedded into different tools, like when you are faced with the list of databases, how do I choose where to start my research or whatever. So they're based on the kinds of questions that students ask. I need to find sources for my research, you click on that. Oh, I'm looking for journals, you click on that. I'm looking for a specific journal, or I want to browse journals, or I need to know if a journal is significant in my field. And eventually you'll get to a page like this that gives you some combination of text, screenshots, and sometimes videos. This particular one doesn't have a video. But all of the information that you would need to answer that question on your own instead of asking a librarian for help. So I would love to do something comprehensive like this. Another thing a little bit different, but sort of also self-service support is the guide on the side from the University of Arizona. Was that a sneeze? Bless you. So this is a tutorial, but it's super cool as tutorials go because it gives you the instructions on the left side of the screen, and then you can follow along with what the tutorial asks you to do on the right side of the screen, so you can actually practice what it's teaching you. Last I heard, the California Community College Libraries group was looking into statewide trying to do something with the software. It's open source software, but that gets complicated because we're all like our website is WordPress, not everyone's is, so I don't know where that's going to go. There's also, I had heard there were potentially some accessibility issues with it, and I don't know if those have been resolved, but that's just another example of something libraries are doing. And then a lot of libraries are doing some, I didn't search for any, but I'm just going to search right now. Let's see, let's find scholarly versus popular sources. And I'm going to look for videos. So there's a ton of YouTube videos you can find on topics related to information literacy or library research. This is actually, these are my favorite, these sort of whiteboard ones that are really...
Hello, kids, and welcome to the Campbell Library Puppet Extraordinaire! On today's show, we're going to discuss the differences between the Library of Congress classification system and the Dewey Decimal System! Yay!
None of that. For your academic bibliography assignment, you will be expected
These are
to
really
install
goofy.
sources and to differentiate them from popular sources. In this video, we will...
So anyway, you get the idea. I think I showed a different one last fall. It was what is summary, and it used Moby Dick as an example, and you have like the image of the ship and the whale, and so anyway, there are fun things like that are really funny, and then there are some that are really dry and boring. First click on this, then click on that, then type your search words, then click on this, don't click here. And so we wanted to do something that was not necessarily as fancy as those whiteboard ones, and also not necessarily as funny, because some of the jokes in the Moby Dick one, for example, would be lost on some of our students, particularly international students, perhaps. There's a lot of, yeah, so we wanted to do something that was more practical. And so there's a whole series of videos that we're in the process of creating, and there's one that's complete now, so I'm going to show you part of it. And this one is sort of an introduction to the library website, so it has a little bit of conceptual stuff about what kinds of things are library resources, and then it also has some, oh, you click on this to find that. It's a little bit longer than the ideal. We want to make them under 5 minutes, but because this first example we're using with specific basic skills, English skills classes, and it's going to be presented as an assignment. We thought, all right, we're going to combine two that might otherwise be separate if we were making them available in a self-serve kind of way. So, so I had created the video, and sort of as an afterthought, I thought, oh, TED Ed might be a cool way to make it available and to embed a quiz. Oh, I should mention that too. There's a quiz that goes along with each video, so we can see whether the students are really learning what we want them to learn. And also so we can sort of assess this project as a whole. And so that could be given out in paper form for a face-to-face class, which for some ESL and English skills classes, that actually makes more sense, especially some of the students I can think in evening ESL classes who are maybe also less familiar with computers or less comfortable with computers. But it can also be, the quiz could be turned into a Moodle quiz, so you could do that online. But the TED Ed, the reason I did it in TED Ed mainly was self-serving, because I wanted to be able to have all of the data about how the students did, because I'm doing it as part of this grant project. And in the process of creating it that way for this, this little pilot program, I realized this is actually a really cool way to present a lesson. So, so I'm sort of, my purpose here today is twofold: to show you the video that we've come up with and also to show you TED Ed in case you haven't used it. And now I'm wondering if I can move this around. Oh, good. Because I need to go
I hear you crunching in the background somewhere.
I hope everyone can hear us. So I will show, actually, let me show you what it is first, and then I'll show you the stats and everything. So when a student logs in, and I give them instructions in a PDF on how to create an account and everything, and ask them to use their real name so that it can be matched to the class roster.
So they have to create an account.
They do have
in TED Ed lessons.
They do have to create an account in TED Ed, yeah. And it's, you know, if I don't want to log out now, but if you go to create an account, you can log in with Facebook. And I've asked them not to do that because not everyone uses their real name on Facebook, and I want to really be able to match it up to the class rosters. That is the thing that's a little bit of a pain, because you have to create the account, then you have to go and click on a confirmation in your email before you can actually do anything. And so again, for some of the classes that, the English skills classes that I'm working with, that's kind of a mini step, more steps that I would want to require of them. So I'm not sure that this, in the long run, this is going to be the best way for this particular video. But in general, I think for a lot of classes, it could be really useful. So I'm not going to show you the whole 7-minute, 18-second video. I'll show you a little bit of the beginning.
Hello, this tutorial will introduce you to the Santa Barbara City College Laureate Library website and show you how to get help from a librarian. After completing this tutorial, you should be able to find the Laureate Library website, know how to get help from an assistant, know where to locate research guides, your library account, and answers to frequently asked questions, and know where to search for different types of library materials. You can find the library website in several ways. Go to the SBCC homepage, sbcc.edu, and select Libraries from the current
I wanted
student
to show
menu.
that there's captions too, so they can turn the captions
Search
on or off.
for the library in the search box on the SBCC homepage.
Okay, so I'm going to skip ahead a little. So I'm showing all the different ways to get to the library,
SBCC library.
Google it, whatever.
The help menu.
I want to go to, okay, so then there's a little
So you
section
can
about
access through the library website
materials.
from on or off campus. Library materials include different types of books, such as fiction and nonfiction books, textbooks, reference books such as encyclopedias and dictionaries, e-books you can read online, and audiobooks you can listen to. The library also has print and online periodicals, such as popular magazines like Rolling Stone.
I have to say, I thought this part was so cheesy. I was like, oh gosh, am I making this video that's just like the videos that I used to, when I taught user instruction to graduate students, I used to show examples of bad library tutorials. I'm like, oh no, is this one of those? What, because I used just like cheap or free clip art. I didn't want to use any copyrighted images or anything. And the students love this. I showed it to some of our tutors in the library before finalizing the video, and they're like, I really like the images. It was really helpful. Like, okay, glad you like it, because I think it's kind of cheesy. But so, and then it goes on, and it starts showing you specific aspects of the library website.
Periodical article that is listed in the library catalog. You will need to locate.
It's 7 minutes, 18 seconds. Ideally, the piece on the types of library materials could be taken out of it. And I should also mention I created the video itself using ScreenFlow. So it's really easy, it would be really easy to take that chunk out of it to make a shorter video just about the library website and do those in 2 minutes, which I would normally do. I think like really 3 to 4 minutes should be the longest, ideally. But because this one is, it's being used and required for classes, so I think you can get away with having it a little bit longer in those, yeah. For the ones that are sort of point of need, I'm going to go and watch this video that I found on the library website myself. I think those should be 3 minutes or less, ideally.
It is on the shelf in the library using the information provided.
So anyway,
in the catalog.
you get the idea. So then after watching the videos, there's this quiz, and it allows you to do short answer or multiple choice or true and false kinds of questions. Unfortunately, what I really wanted was some multiple choice where you can select multiple answers, and it won't let you do that. But it has the quiz, and then if you answer a question and check your answer and it's wrong, you can either just try again, or you can get a video hint, and it will take you to that part of the video.
Which you can use in the
I thought that was really cool.
Is that built into that tool?
It's built into the tool. You have to put where it is in the video. You have to, so it was a little bit of experimentation getting it at exactly the right second marker. But it's pretty user-friendly to develop. I thought that was just awesome that it did that. So then I can go to the next question, whatever. Oh, and I should say the different categories on the right, the watch, think, dig deeper, discuss. I really wish you could change the order of them, and you can't. You can choose whether or not to include each one, but I really want to dig deeper at the very end. I wanted to be able to force them to do the discuss after the think. You also can't change the title of those, so you can't say quiz instead of think. The dig deeper. Good sound effect.
Who's at the airport?
The dig deeper, yeah. So I just have links to like an infographic on how much information there is on the internet on any given day or whatever. So it's cool, but I would like to have that at the very end. The discuss, I'm not actually using in any classes yet, but I did a little fake discussion, extra credit if you figure out who these people are, my fake people. But so you can you can have as many discussion topics as you want, and then people can just click respond to answer a question or participate in the discussion. And then when the lesson's done and you want to track how the students have done, you just go to this page that allows you to share or whatever, and click on lesson stats, and it shows me for each person how many of the questions they completed, how many were correct on their first attempt, how many times they how many attempts they made. So Barbara Gordon made 10 attempts and still got some wrong.
It's a real person.
No. Anyone know who Barbara Gordon is? Batgirl.
Oh,
Batgirl and her.
that girl.
These are all librarians. Her day job was as a librarian.
Oh.
Anyone know who Bunny Watson is?
No, who's that?
Think back to, when was it? 50s? Probably 50s. It was Katharine Hepburn in the movie Death Set, where Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy, where
Oh, that's cool.
Spencer Tracy works for the company that's bringing the computer into like a corporate library.
Right.
So yeah, and actually, if you look at their
That's funny.
discussion, that was interesting. And S.R. Ranganathan was a librarian in the 20s and 30s who came up with this law of libraries, the 5 laws of libraries that is still taught in library schools, like books are for use, every book its reader, every reader its book, his or her book. Libraries are growing organisms, and save the time of the user. So anyway, but I can
learn the 5 lessons well.
yes. So you can track all of this, and then you can also download a CSV file of all of the actual scores, so it's a little bit easier to work with. So that's basically it.
So can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
How long did it take you to do this whole thing?
To create, including the video itself.
Yep.
Way longer than I expected. But some of that was getting accustomed to the ScreenFlow software because I'd never used it before. And there were things like I would, as I'm, let me go back to the video itself. It's just what we had. Kenley had purchased it a couple years ago, and we've used other things. I'm not sure what his reasons were, but one of the things that it can do, I'm not sure like if Camtasia can do this or not, is you can record everything that's going on the screen and also record your face. So if you're as long as you're standing, in front of the camera. So that's cool. Like we've done a couple workshop presentations that he's recorded that way. And I've used Camtasia too. It's been a while, but it seems pretty comparable. And are you familiar with ScreenFlow?
It'll do a picture-in-picture and record your picture on spot.
Yeah.
It's somewhat cost prohibitive because for a Windows version it's $175.
For Camtasia?
Yes, for a Mac version it's about $70 to $90.
Yeah. So ScreenFlow is $100, but it's an app, so you can put it on 5 different Mac things.
So Ellen, when you went into the TED lesson thing, and it said back there, I think, create your own lesson.
Yeah.
So they don't provide the software then for you to do this stuff. You have to upload your own video.
You have to upload you upload the video. So you can this is a shell.
Okay.
So the video is on YouTube. So you can probably get videos from like Vimeo. You could probably use Vimeo videos. I'm not sure. So let's see. Actually, let me go.
Upload videos that you have done already, but use this to create the quizzes, the discussion, that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but this is the Mac version only.
The software I use to create the video is Mac only, is ScreenFlow, but the TED Ed is just web-based, so you can.
It doesn't. There is no authentication plugin between TED Ed and Moodle of any time. So you really do have to have a separate login to get.
Yeah, so that's a bummer. Yeah, and again, I'm not sure it's what I would necessarily recommend. For my needs for this project, it was really great because I'm able, one of the issues as that we have as a librarian is that we do this instruction and then we don't see how the students have really done because we're not grading the assignments that are part of their research and we're usually not seeing them or anything. And And so except for the students in our Library 101 classes, we don't, they go off to do research and we don't know the results of that. So this is a way for us to track how they're actually doing in a way that works for online students as well as for face-to-face students. But to get back to the ScreenFlow, it's a ridiculous number of hours to do this 1 7-minute video, like probably even after I'd already written the script and figured out all of that, it probably took me 12 hours to do like the PowerPoint with the little clip art and all of that. But it would be quicker next time, because part of it was, I would say, oh, I'm going to cut out this little piece, and I would cut out the video and forget to cut out the audio, so then they're not matched, and then I have to match them up again, or I cut out those two together, but the annotations I have on the screen were not matched. So now I sort of know all of the little things I have to make sure, like group everything together before I cut anything, stuff like that. So I think it will be faster. And then the other thing that I really love about it, and Camtasia would do this too, is if you have content, like sort of short chunks of content that you want to be able to use in different ways, then you can combine them. You can build, do the component parts and then build any number of videos from those different components. And so that's one way. That's why we're thinking in sort of like the 3-minute little modules, because that's a good amount of time for someone who's sort of doing the self-service kind of, I just need to know how I search this database, or I just need to know how to limit to full text articles or something like that. Give them a little 3-minute video, but then I can use that same content to build a bigger video that's going to be used in an actual lesson in a class.
You just really have to eliminate login.
That's the thing.
I mean, a student doesn't want to create an account to take it. I tried to go through it, but I don't want to create a login, so that might hinder my doing it, just because I have to go through the process of creating it. So there are probably some tools out there you could use.
Yeah.
You're right. The problem with Moodle is it's all divided by sections, so you can't easily take her module and stick it in a section. Now she could have had her quiz part been a Google form and made it that way. And we collected all the section data that way from different sections.
Yeah, and I could do that
sticking
too.
each of these in a course is harder to do because it's not a modular block that you can easily share.
I was going to ask, so like I can't, if I create a quiz in Moodle, I can't share that quiz with others.
You can. It's just getting it easy. I mean, really what a teacher wants to do is say, take your whole block and move it in.
Yeah.
That's how easy it needs to be.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to have to add your pieces one at a time.
Right.
But, I mean, we're getting there. We're just not really quite there yet with the way it works. And then part of it is how we, as I've said many times, how the United States creates sections of content, and rather than just courses or multiple sections are in there. We just happen to do it that way, which makes it difficult for sharing aspects of it. But you are right, you could have done pieces of this in Moodle, you could have put all the quiz aspects in it, you could have put the videos still in YouTube. But then that still works to assemble them, stick them in different places, and put them into a single shell. So I don't know, it's something to think about. We should make more of those,
And I'm curious what you all think too, like what would be easier for you, and what do you think would be easier for your students? For me to give you the video and the quiz, and you have to embed those in your Moodle course separately, but then then it's part of your grading within your Moodle course. Or to do this, where then students have, they get the PDF with this is how you create an account, and they do everything in here.
You want a one-stop shop.
Yeah, you want the whole block of the whole thing. You can drag the whole block, which includes your module, into that piece there. And then I don't know what data the teachers want to get from your module versus what you want to get.
Right, and that's,
It probably depends on the class. So I'm interested in the short videos to embed in my course for a student to click on to figure out how to get online information on periodicals.
Right. That's the next one.
So that's an excellent okay. So I mean, that's what in my class, because I'm not a research-based class, but I'm sure there's some classes that are requiring real research papers that they would want the whole piece in there.
Mhm.
But it is a little complicated when they have to log in, create a user account with another company. You're taking them away from
Yeah.
the base product of the college.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if Jen, are there questions? Do we need to open that back up for the people out there that have questions? Because we're just sort of monopolizing the discussion. I'm just afraid you might have other people who might have a question for it.
All right. Well, anyone that has a question is welcome to unmute and ask a question. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, the video.
Okay. Yeah. Anyone that is has a question should just unmute, and if you're wanting to take questions now, Alan.
Yeah.
I don't have any. I've been just taking notes and following along and enjoying your presentation. Does anyone virtually have any questions for Ellen?
Good job.
Thank you, Ellen.
You're welcome. All right. So how do I
I'll
share?
exit you.
Okay. I'll let you
I'm
do it.
gonna
Thank you.
I'm gonna stop the recording now, so you don't have